So recently I was able to reach out to influencers from around the world and interview them for my podcast. And how I was able to do that is what I call this ladder principle. And how the ladder principle works is quite simple. You break down the people that you want to reach into three categories. There are tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. So tier 3 are the ones that are lesser known influencers, but there's still individuals that people are aware of, and they are experts in their respective niches. Tier 2 are a step above that, people that are a lot more well known, people that probably have say 100,000, 200,000, 300,000 followers on any of their social media platforms. And tier 1s are those people that almost everyone has heard of. People like Gary Vee, people like Grant Cardone, and so forth. So my strategy, what we call a ladder strategy, is quite simple. I start off with trying to target the tier 3 people. I try to find at least 3 of these people to interview. And once I have interviewed these 3 people, I use their names as reference when I reach out to the next tier, which is the tier 2 people. So when in my outreach, whether it's through email, through social media, the people in tier 2 will see my message. It will explain my podcast, and it will show 3 of the tier 3 people that they might have heard of and might be of value to them. And the reason why this works so well is because of social proof. When you show that you also have other individuals that you have worked with, whether you're pitching your product or service, you show them that other companies that you have previously worked with is almost on par with them or is on par with them, then you increase the chance that they're going to pay attention to you, your product, and your pitch. So even if you're not starting a podcast, even if you are not interviewing anyone, but you want to get in front of decision makers at companies where they are slightly above who you're used to working with, then this strategy will work wonders for you. So in this case, you'll find 3 companies that you previously worked with, and you target companies that are one step above the companies that you previously worked with. Use those names and see how they respond. And usually what they'll do is they'll take the meeting, they'll respond to you, even if they have no idea what you are selling. And that's typically the case. When I'm pitching my podcast, I don't go into great lengths explaining everything that goes on or exactly what the podcast is about. I don't give them an entire page email. All I do is write an email first addressing them and also explaining how I know them, creating context, and explaining my podcast in maybe 1 or 2 sentences. Then in the 3rd or 4th sentence, I have a list of the 3 names that they may be familiar with that are 1 tier below them. And then once I send the message, and then I'm able to get these tier 2 people to interview with me, I use those tier 2 people and now reach out to the tier 1 people. A lot of times people try to go directly to the tier 1 people, or they just stay at the tier 3 or even below tier 3. And the reason is because the ones that just go directly to tier 1 are not using the ladder principle. They're not building on top of previous sort of success cases. And the ones that are not going above tier 3 believe that those people above, the influencers that are above tier 3 or the companies that are above tier 3, in tier 1s and 2 would not pay attention to them. So if you use the ladder principle as I just explained, you will be able to break through and to break free of these limitations. So let me just quickly recap. You start off by listing the different companies, individuals that you want to work with. You put them in categories. Tier 1 are the most influential, the highest tier companies, the Fortune 500s, and tier 2 are less well-known, less influential, and tier 3 are a step under that. So you first focus on getting the tier 3s Then you use the tier 3s to get the tier 2s, and then the tier 2s to get the tier 1s. So with that, I hope that helps your business in your sales process, your prospecting process, and it can also work within a specific organization. If you're trying to reach a well-known person at a company, if you're trying to reach the CEO